Hello there, Sarah from 17 once again. This is my Dark Souls 2 walkthrough. We're back in Majula, and we're on our way to the Shaded Woods. So this is a place where you can come here at any real time after getting one of the fragrant branches of yore. And it's one of those areas that it's very intimidating when you first get there. There's a lot of these curse pots that you've not come across, but the curse is obviously scary for anyone who's played Dark Souls. They remember it being a very intimidating thing. On this game, curse does not work the same. Curse is nowhere near the penalty that it was in Dark Souls, so you don't have to be so afraid of it. The lion guys hurt a lot and in fact deal curse damage, so those guys are a little bit more dangerous, but luckily you don't have to fight many of them and they're very easy to backstab, and I don't know if you'll see that too much in this particular walkthrough. But this room here has a very nasty beginner's trap in it. It is a room designed to kill you because it does literally nothing else. These enemies here are pretty crappy looking. They're like some kind of testicular tumoured psychopathic cannibal monster dude with a big bony club that poisons you, and they're not a very impressive enemy, they're not a very fun enemy, they're not really a good enemy in any way. But what this room does is, as soon as you pull this switch, it locks you in here with a dozen of them, and together they can do a lot of damage. So you want to be very careful of stun locks, being very careful of getting trapped, and take them out however you wish to do so. But just be aware that behind me a door is opening and there's a curse frog, and the basilisks, or whatever they call them in this game, they've now got a jump attack that is very fast, it's got some good range, and it does a lot of damage. And they generally use that before they use the breath. Previously in Dark Souls, they would breath almost all the time. You were never really in any fear of being damaged by them, but they could curse you. And that was the trade-off. That was what made them an enemy that kind of worked in my mind. In this game, I was so stunned that they were attacking me that I've never been cursed by them. Not even those ones in Seldora, the kind of crazy ones with the fake eyes that don't work anymore. So they've changed them, and I think they've changed them for the worse, because rather than being a very specific enemy for very specific situations, they've turned them into everything else in the game that, you know, just attacks you for the sake of attacking you. But right now there are two of these scrubbers on my left throwing rocks at me. The rocks do a considerable amount of damage. There's one on my right just here, you'll see him hit me just then. And I get put into a stun lock just there, because I flinch from the rock and then his friend beats me up before I can roll.
Over the hill and past the forest is the king's castle, where a man peered straight into the essence of the soul. But whatever came of it?
So just try to be careful of them. They're not a tough enemy, they're not really anything that's going to murder you as long as you know what you're doing, but these games have always had this thing where anything can kill you. It really can. Even the smallest thing that you ignore can come back and punish you. So just be careful and respect things. This area here in particular is one of the most baffling you'll find, and I come up here to speak to Vengal, which you don't have to do, but I think I wanted to buy some pine resin from him. So I think that's the reason why you're seeing me do this. Just for future reference when I fight things like the Mirror Knight and such. Magic and lightning, believe it or not, are one of his weaknesses, which doesn't really make much sense, but you know, it is a game and there will always be those crazy moments in games. But now that we've done this, we can run back through this area, and you're not going to see me explore this place, and I recommend you don't explore it either. It's just so strange. It is essentially a massive forest, completely doused in mist, and inside of it there are enemies that are completely invisible. And the only thing I'm going to do here is show you the path to get the Chloranthy ring +1. Because this ring, when it's +1, is considerably better than its original state, and it's one of the most important rings in the game for a player such as myself who uses a lot of stamina. And you'll notice I've turned the camera because I'm looking for the bastards coming after me. And they will, guys, and because they're a humanoid enemy, they can backstab you. So you want to be very careful, because a backstab from one of these guys with my current armor state and my current life probably would kill me. And you need to be aware of the threats of such things. But here is the bonfire in the Shaded Woods. This is an area I really enjoy. Once again, it's not quite as embellished or as long or as deep as I would have liked it to be. And this is a very long game, and as much as I love it, I would like more of the areas to have been as fully realised as the Lost Bastille. But I think the Bastille is kind of maybe the Anor Londo of this game, because it's an area which is quite significant, and you can come to it in a few different places, and it houses quite a lot of secrets, whereas some of the other areas just seem like a conduit to a different place. This is a great example. This literally leads to Doors of Pharos, and Doors of Pharos itself is a highway to the Seldora camp, so, you know, some of them don't really have much of a purpose, which is a bit of a shame, but I understand the design. And this is the Scorpioness, so be careful as she fires magic. These hits right now do not damage the boss. I thought they would have. Yeah. That's a mistake there, guys. The hitbox on this creature when it comes out of the sand is a lingering hitbox. If you get too close to her before she settles, that will happen. And it sucks because when she comes up, she does a little bit of a fanfare with her tails, and it's a fantastic opportunity to attack her, just like this moment here. But there's a couple of addendums to hitting this boss that you need to understand. If you attack the tails enough, they will break. And the attacks she does with the tails, like this, are the biggest opening for attacks on the boss that you will get. And if you break her poise, you'll get even longer to hit her. And that's the thing. You want to keep the tails alive so you get those openings, but at the same time, you want to definitely be dealing as much damage as you can. Just make sure you're dealing it to her and not to her big old dirty appendages. So you'll notice I run past them and I hit the body. And the big combo does some serious damage. She goes under the ground. And then from this point onwards, we're going to stand on this piece of stone because it's Tremors rules, and whenever you're on something, they can't come beneath you, unless it's, you know, American houses, which for some reason are made out of wood. Right, here we go. So she comes out once again. I'm being a little more tentative with that because she hit me earlier on, and I really feel like she shouldn't have, but that's just me. So I'm going to give it a little bit of a wide berth. It's one of those. It's one of those gut feelings with some of the hits on this game. Like some of them, you know, like that for instance, that has a lot of range and it's got a lingering hitbox. If you're close to the boss when she does that and you roll backwards, 10 to 1 you will not have the iframes to be on that weapon when you come out of invulnerability, because it'll still count as a big hit. And it's just something you need to get used to, something you need to learn, and it'll feel considerably less cheap once you realise that. But there she goes anyhow, not a challenging boss by any standards. If she spams magic, she's much more dangerous. But we got a good pattern, we got a nice fight, and hopefully it helps anybody struggling. So thank you for watching, and you take care now.